I was introduced to this artist from my partner who's from Bilbao in Spain. And he said to me, listen to her. And I remember her being very young, being interviewed, and she just had casual white sweat top. People weren't making a fuss over her. And since then, she's rose to global superstardom. I think if you were to conjure up the excitement people get for artists like Celine Dion and artists that they consider beyond touch, Rosalia has proven to her young self, because she still is very young, that there is no branch in a tree, the living tree. If you symbolically think of the tree, the roots in the ground, her feet are on the ground, but she's branched out into so many areas of the music industry to be calling in people to create a video like this just exemplifies how great and the greatness that this artist is about. That's all I have to say on Rosalia. I do have a lot to say on Bjork, and I do have a lot to say on Yves Tumor, because thank you, Rosalia, for introducing me to Yves Tumor, because Yves has been an artist that has totally fascinated me, delving and researching about this artist to bring onto my channel very, very soon. So that's going to be a treat for a lot of Spanish fans and worldwide fans, that you've brought the attention upon these stars. One we already know and the world loves, the Atlantic Queen, Bjork. She's phenomenal. Her voice has just add sincerity, authenticity to anything that she does. But because she dresses up and she's very fantastical, and she's very live art in itself when she's on stage, it again goes, and it's like sewing a patchwork quilt, this video, what Rosalia has done. She's brought in artists that are exuberant by nature, are diversified by character when it comes to lyrical prowess, and going into different forms and genres of music, and growing with that. And Rosalia, I thought you couldn't get any higher. As a flamenco singer, I think you are exceptionally phenomenal, beyond being phenomenal, beyond the greatest flamenco singers in the world that is alive today. And those past would agree with me and say she's amazing. But this, to me, you've like turned a corner. What's happened is you start asking yourself a load of questions straight away about, what is this about? Is Rosalia and Berghain, because it's a German word, is it a mystical redemption, everybody? Or the return to the total work of art that this artist is known for? And I've got to say something that it was on the news in Spain a couple of weeks back, the main channel, and my partner said, oh wow, look at this. And I did. And it was about Rosalia being, and loads of people running after her. And whilst he was busy cooking in the kitchen, I looked, and it was just a phenomenal piece of the video where it's just her walking and all these choir singers that partake in the video behind her. But so many people, the euphoria she caused in Madrid, shut down the whole city. Think about the city of Madrid, everybody, millions of people, and this artist shut it down simply because she appeared in the city doing what she was doing and good at. The video clip you're about to see is from the album's first single, Lux, and it's by Rosalia. Without doubt, one of the most musically and visually elaborate, it really is, and radical aesthetic offerings on the current art scene today, musically. And I had to really think about the thumbnail I was going to put with this reaction, because I create every single artist thumbnail that I put onto my channel, and I've got better and better and better. But I really had to work hard from the video and create something that was visually appealing, and that included Bjork and Yves as well. Rosalia is only 33 years old, everybody. And, you know, just as she was when Jesus Christ died on the cross, she's rose again, in my estimation, with this video. It really is art, and she will be at the end of the Rosalia music video with her obituary when it appears. Begin literally means, in English, mountain grove. Why would she pick such a title? Why? What's the song about? I'll elaborate now. It comes from the names of the Berlin neighborhoods of Prenzlauer Berg and Frankenstein. No, it sounds like I said Frankenstein. I didn't mean to say that. Friedenstein. on whose border is a Berghain club. This place is a temple of techno music, everybody. It displays luminous symbolic architecture. It also serves the place as an opportunity for Rosalia to experience something that goes beyond the metamorphosis stage that she's at, and transfiguration, mutation state, musically, physically, mentally. She's going and morphing like that tree with the branches. You know, you think of the Celtic tree of life with the roots so deep, and then the tree grows and never dies and keeps branching out. That's Rosalia and what she's done here. She seeks salvation from, in the video, from an irreparable wound in the heart, the most precious pendant of the protagonist of the video, Rosalia herself. It seems that Rosalia is aware of the heart represents in the Old Testament. You know, you'll see that for yourself. Where it's located. It's not only the seat of emotions, but the core from which she thinks and wants and loves. Proverb 4.23, for everybody's reference, is guard your heart more than anything else, because from it flows the spring of life. And that would really define what you're about to see. It's that journey of conviction of the heart that can never be completely remade, only at the end, and with death. And the restoration of feeling and lovesick is only found with the passage of time. No matter how much one tries to speed up time by going to a jeweler, as you'll see she does, or a watchmaker, never not with the impatience or the immediate miraculous care, nor with the experience of medicine that cures the evidence of what appears in an electrodiagram and its health. I just feel everybody experiences heartbreak and the devastating consequences of a broken, deformed heart, that small, intimate, interior jewel that is damaged even though it seems incorruptible. At the beginning of the video, and Rosalia enters her home dressed in mourning with rose-encrusted sandals, and you'll see the domestic art of her ironing her bloody red dress, washing clothes until they are white, unscathed, in an attitude of, I'd say Gwenflexion. She's, you know, all over the place, becomes penitence, a silent purifying prayer. Vulnerable space of the home is interrupted by the tight eruption, then, as you'll hear, of the London Symphony Orchestra. It oppresses Rosalia and invades the realm of intimacy. The monumental becomes the close and the necessary. The public is domestic. The interior world, the house, the body, the pain, the memory, hosts the collective experience you're about to visualize and see in this video of music, life, collectively enjoyed, and the present. When he goes out in the street with the top grey, you can read my intrusive thoughts. And then it goes back to talking about the Berlin club, Berghain, the legendary space in the techno and queer of the European club, transformed into a temple and metaphor for an excess of sex, represents a mystical darkness throughout this video, although it may seem contradictory in its term. Is it the end or the beginning, we ask ourselves? The Berghain Club, as a space of dissolution and the self of collective ecstasy, is a nocturnal and expansive face of the same process of an unbridled lost, healing and salvation that reaches ecstasy. And religious symbols such as the Sacred Heart and the Dove stage within the video make its appearances and reveal they can be read both Catholic and in Protestant ways. So, you know, the interpretation she uses, the art that she uses, are all going to be interpreted in so many ways that this is why the video's got so many millions already. Everyone's got an interpretation of it. And, you know, then Rosalia will transform into, you'll see, into, which is part of the video I've seen, Little Red Riding Hood, or it isn't Little Red Riding Hood. It is Little Red Riding Hood. And Snow White, it's even on my thumbnail that I've created. It's organic, it's symbolic, and it's a matter of light. The voice of Bjork comes into it, and that will accompany her in front of a bird in this traffic that is reached with the song, "The only way I know is divine intervention. The only way I know is divine intervention," she sings. "Only way I know is divine intervention." Now, the animals of the forest invite us in the video to a reading. There are emancipations of a natural unconsciousness, remnants of a lost paradise that erupts into human space. Animality is not a threat here, but a memory of communion with the instinctive rational shells. There's a deer, as you'll see, and a symbol of purity and believing soul. Bleeds black blood from its eyes because of its innocence has been wounded. A living blood is red, black blood is corrupted, disease. It's a blood that prevents one from seeing clearly and drags Rosalia into a state of loss, a fall, mystical suffering in her dreams, as you'll see. In Jungian symbolism, it would have represented profound sadness, the emergence of shadow and darkness. And then there's the theme of the resurrection of Christ. Rosalia is not the sleeping maiden waiting to be saved, but rather the being who consciously enters symbolic death to be reborn like Jesus Christ. The forest becomes a refuge, an unknown space transformed into a place of learning and rest. And the reinterpretation connects with the idea of the symbolic and the feminine images, are championed by Helene Kuxias and her need to produce new representations of the body and voices as spaces of freedoms. In the end, Berghain articulates an acoustics of presence and desire. It's a locus animosus where techno pilgrims arrive and where the subject does not dominate the sound, but rather the sound dominates them and becomes more element of an affective and sensorial ecosystem. That very in-depth analysis that I've just given you was taken from ARA, Spanish online website. And it was wrote by Magda Polo Pugadas. And I want to thank Magda for that particular insight. Because when a Spanish artist of this produces a video of diversity like this and such caliber, and uses a choir and uses, everybody is singing in different, the choir are singing like their fear, the rage. Rosalia is singing in German, then you've got the choir in German, Rosalia is singing back in Spanish, and you've got Bjork in English and Yves in English. It's a real mixture, and when you try and break it down, it can be so difficult. So Magda, thank you for your insight. It was very artistically done and very profound. And my audience have a tendency to listen for 5 minutes, but that's it. So I'm going to give you the breakdown of these lyrics, everybody, straight after we listen to this phenomenal voice of Rosalia, inviting Bjork and Yves Tumor on a Berghain trip of the ecosystem and soul. Take it away.
till you love me. I'll fuck you till you love me. I'll fuck you till you love me. 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 Love me. Till you love me. I'll fuck you till you love me. I'll fuck you till you love me. Love me. Love me. Love me. Love me.
Wow. You really have to say after that, wow. Felicidades, Rosalia. And I mean that. Berghain is sung by a choir in German, as you heard there. His fear is my fear, his rage is my rage to say, his love is my love, his blood is my blood. It's a bold, feverish and overwhelming declaration in that video of a powerful kind of love that makes people involved inseparable. That's what it's about as well. It's nearly the same person. What one feels, the other feels as well, kind of thing. And that thing about putting the choir, when you put so many voices singing together, the vibe, the epic is full of drama. And that's what it did there. And the song, way past normal pop aesthetics. It really was. Of course, when two people are infatuated and devoted to each other, it can be a recipe for disaster. And we'll see that in the verses. Because Rosalia's verses reveal a one-sided relationship unraveling. And it's when, that chorus is emphasizing that, and she sings of fire and heat that melts her like a sugar cube in coffee, quickly disappearing. And that when the other person comes in, that's when I leave, she says. In the video, in the lyrics, it suggests that one side is passionate and fiery, but it's more or less lopsided to her, not to him. And she feels suffocated, while the other person is present, is ever present in her eyes and the way she feels and everything. And she's running around and she's taking a back street and she draws into herself, into her thoughts that we see. But in those thoughts, that other person is the light of her life. That other person has this profound effect on her. And that other person is the one that she really just wants to spend the rest of her life with. They've still got a hold on her. Rosalia also suggests that she lives in service of this other person, emotionally and physically, when she's thinking like this, when she's reenacting the drama of it. And that's what the choir does as well. They bring drama, an epic drama, way past pop aesthetics, like I mentioned before. And her love, she becomes, when she sings, she dedicates herself so much to her love that she's become her love and also lost herself in the process, if that makes sense. When she brings in Bjork and Yves, I feel Bjork's voice cuts through that choir, as you've heard. To save the relationship, she says, is divine inspiration, suggesting that it takes a miracle for things to improve. It's a desperate plea that matches only one grandeur, in my eyes, of the choir behind her, as though begging God to step in and do something before Rosalia fades away altogether. And then Bjork fades away with her voice. Yves comes into it, and it's an uncomfortable line that's chopped and remixed. And for reasons on YouTube, I can't, but I'll feck you till you love me. It serves as a final desperate plan to save the relationship just through the physicality side of things. And then you've got Tumor's line remixed and warped again, suggesting also, and there could be, this take on it, that the idea isn't exactly a visible one for Rosalia or him. It's their kind of relationship, their kind of stance where they're at is misguided attempt on both sides. Her thinking about him all the time, thinking he's the light, and him saying, well, it was just sex. It really is a sinking ship, he's trying to say to her, but it's not getting through up here. Now, Berghain, as I said, was a famous nightclub, notoriously difficult to get into, and it was a hotspot of Berlin nightlife, where she drew inspiration for this and got the name of the song. In an interview, she says, we all have this forest of thoughts, and that is why the Snow White and the animals all represent all animals represent a different element of, how can you say this? Like the deer is about purity, the rabbit is about reproduction, the sex part of it. They all represent something, but she puts it in a Snow White effect. And she says, because we all have forests of thoughts inside us where you can get lost. I'm not glorifying evil, the evil of the relationship and the darkness, and things like Yves has said, it was emphasizing the point, it was just about sex. But it's about the present, and it's about life, living life in the present. It makes me think of the quote she says about an artist who walks beside the devil, putting the hand on his shoulder, can expand our understanding of wickedness. And she puts you into that artistic dimension when she says that. Now, the song might be also about Rosalia's. It's been mentioned by other places and other magazines by Rosalia's recently called off engagement. I personally don't think it is. I personally, if I was to give you an overall, and I was to say to you, and people say, come on, just put something to this. What do you think of it? It is very tough. And I remember writing it down, and I want to bring it up on my screen because now I don't write everybody in my little black book as I used to. Well, it's blue. I now put it on screen and put it in front of me so I can read it out. And as always, I lose the... But I just feel, when you've got the Berghain featuring a choir singing in German, Rosalia singing German, Spanish, like I mentioned before, and the line, his fear is my fear, his rage is my rage, his love is my love, his blood is my blood. I thought about it and I put it into this. The divine intervention is there. The only way to save us through divine intervention from Bjork and Yves. It's about the sex. And when you conjure up what it's all about, I think it's about the travesty that falls so many people when they get into a relationship that is not meant to be. It's as simple as that. And no matter what you do, you sell your soul, like the watchmakers, you'll sell your soul to the devil to keep it. It's not worth it. You keep thinking that person's the light of your light, but he isn't. Because Yves mentions in his line, it's just about the sex. And even though you've got the choir to dramatize the feelings and the hurt that you're going through, I really don't think it's about her relationship. I think it's more about projecting us into her new album, her new singing, her new way of thinking, into this Lux album. I really do. I think she's going to bring us music that's been, and the aesthetics of pop music on an unparalleled level. That's what she's preparing us for. The explosion of fireworks that will take place when people get the album and listen to her music. I think it's going to be about feminism. Because there was crosses feminism in this video, and I think it'll be about languages, incorporating that into the New Lux album. And she even says, I've experienced different things through all the years of traveling, being exposed to other music and being exposed to other cultures, and all of I can carry with me so much love. And I'm like, I want to be part of this album. So I feel this song was about putting everything she's ever experienced in every relationship into one video and making it so theatrical that she's been the star of this. She's been hurt by this. She's been the hero of this. And because of her beliefs of being a strong woman, she's come through this. And she's had too many people in relationships say, the sex is great, but there's no long-term relationship. And she's come to realize it's like Alice in Wonderland. Spiritually, they've all had different things that attracted me to them. But I'm just in a forest of thoughts at the moment about trying to get through life and seeing, can I be as successful in love as I am in my music? I think that's what this album's going to be about, in many different languages. And that's it, everybody. That is my 25 minutes, the longest I've done in 3.5 years. But Rosalia, again, you've dropped your first single of the Lux album. It had to be a big biographical because of the video, and it needs to be put into context. And I hope I've made people understand it more, if anything. And I'm sorry for talking so much. Gracias por todo, por escucharme in Spanish-speaking countries. And hola, ¿qué tal? Because my partner is in Bilbao at the moment, the north of Spain, with his family. And I am making Rosalia videos. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you say, oh, I am subscribed, go and check, because YouTube have taken thousands of subscribers from my different artist fans, and I'm asking you to re-subscribe. Thank you.